What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
What is going on, OTB Nation? Welcome into episode number 344 of the award-nominated, honorably mentioned, number 9 NCAA ranked, and of course, viewable on YouTube, Outside the Box podcast, the official lacrosse podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. It's KB and Deej. As you can hear, I sound like absolute dog water because I lost my voice on Sunday as I witnessed the only postseason win for 2024 for the Philadelphia Phillies in person, to which then it evolved into a sinus infection and just not great vibes. But I am on the mend, and this is what we call a Jordan flu game. I'm out here for the people. We pushed the recording because I didn't have a voice yesterday whatsoever. I haven't had a voice for 2.5 days, but we're here. We're back, and we got some fun stuff to talk about. We're putting fictional lacrosse rosters on hold this week just because my brain's not going to be able to function with it. And we're determining whether or not we're going to do Disney next or round 2 of Nickelodeon. Both will be done, but we're figuring out what's going to be next on the docket because our guy Phil Shore said he heard the bat signal and he's going to be coming on the show for Disney. So very excited for that. But a lot of stuff has happened in the NLL over the past week and a half or so that we're going to talk about. The PLL dropped their next trading card set. We're going to talk about that. And the what are they calling it? The USA Lacrosse Experience. Is going on in Indianapolis. And I just saw Dan Arestia tweeted that Team USA is beating Colombia in the third quarter 19-6.
I'm so sad I can't be there.
Yeah, it is a bummer.
So sad. Because
Brian,
it's such a reasonable price, but because of football tonight, I'm not spending $15 to just drive 4 hours and go tomorrow. But I also, it wouldn't have made sense to buy the $20 weekend pass if I can't go today. So
Brian Tierney and Connor Kurse both have hat tricks. Last I checked.
Not surprised in the least bit.
So we'll talk a little bit about that too, because Pat Cav and Liam Entman were on the Pat McAfee show as well. Michael Sowers is doing some local Indianapolis media. So we'll touch on that too. But before we get into everything, make sure you guys are following us on the socials across the board, every platform at OTB LaxPod. That's Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, Facebook, everything. It's at OTB LaxPod. Follow Deej on Twitter at SCS_next great. Follow Chase at the PLL Pipeline. Follow Hoots at Hoot Sports Media, which he just made me privy to this too, Deej. The Denver Rough Riders supporter group. They are taking things indoors, and they have created a Colorado Mammoth fan supporter group. And it's a badass name for a team known as the Mammoth. They're calling themselves the Tar Pit.
Okay.
I was like, I can get down with that. That's fire. But it's the same people that are running the Rough Riders, so pretty cool stuff that it's like gone from the PLL and now it's translating to the NLL. That's how you grow the game.
Facts. This is awesome.
Very cool stuff. They're on Instagram right now. We'll link them or tweet about them so that everybody keeps up to date with the Tar Pit. I need every NLL team to have a supporter group type situation. That'd be sick, especially with it off the rip being like geographical locations. I know like Philly, we have like groups for players and stuff, which is very just like Philly sports. It's been a thing with the Eagles and the Phillies for as long as I've been alive. But we'll see if that translates to other teams. But follow us on the socials. Subscribe to the pod on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts in audio form. Subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. Leave a like on the video. Drop a comment down below. Next week's episode, we will have the voicemail line open. I got it up and running for the main pod. Casey and Owen got it up and running for F1. We're going to have it up and running for this show next week. So that way it is open 24/7 too. So you can call in whenever. The terms right now is your voicemail has to be 90 seconds or less, because we're just going to be using the free version of this website for the time being. So 90 seconds or less. It's open whenever, so you can call in with your lacrosse takes, with reactions to news. Call in after your favorite team plays a game, win, lose, or draw. It's going to be, we're going to play as many of them as we can, and we're going to implement it as a segment. I think it's going to be a ton of fun for our fan base to continue to get interacted with the show. But we will have that up and running for you guys next week, and it will be linked in the description this week. We just can't take calls this week because we're already recording. But it'll be linked in the description for you to take the voicemail line and leave us your thoughts and everything down below. So very pumped for that, to get that up and running right before the NLL kicks off, because I think that's going to be a fun little category that we'll have on the show for NLL fans to call in, whether their team wins or loses or frustrations and everything. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, Deej.
Yeah, I'm excited. They'll be able to kind of partially be like us, and then we'll be able to respond to them and probably agree with a lot of their sentiments, because I feel like a lot of our fan base feels the same way about lacrosse, or looks at the game very similarly very similarly to the way that we do. Wow, I've had trouble speaking all day. You would not believe that I work for a radio station today. Wow, it has been a day.
But yeah, the voicemail line will be linked in the description. Start leaving voicemails as soon as you hear this episode. And of course, guys, this show is presented by Shootout For Soldiers. They are simply the best. And next week is Vail, Colorado. So get those registrations in now, because October 19th, Vail, Colorado, is where Shootout For Soldiers is going for a West Coast event. It's going to be absolutely awesome. They're having an after event, kind of like throwdown at the 10th Mountain Whiskey Distillery as well. But go out, register, whether you're a team, an individual. Genuinely, a Shootout For Soldiers event is one of a kind. It's so unique, and to bring it to the West Coast, out in Colorado, is going to be an absolutely incredible experience to kick off their fall slate. The link to register, if you are able to do so, is in the description of this podcast. It's in our bio on Instagram and on Twitter. It's in our link tree. Or go to shootoutforsoldiers.com and click the register button, or shootoutforsoldiers.com/events, and you can click find an event on that page, and it'll bring you right to the next event to register for. And before we know it, it'll be Wall Ball for Warfighters month, the whole month of November, which will be definitely pumping big time on this show the whole month of November. But October 19th, Shootout For Soldiers, Vail, Colorado. Register if you are in the area. The link is in the description, and it's in our bio on social media. And we thank Shootout For Soldiers for sponsoring the podcast. Deej, it's been a wild couple of weeks in the NLL. I know we haven't really been full-blown like following free agency, just because it's like it's so crapshooty when it comes to the NLL. It's not really a thing that you can kind of track directly until it's made available for the most part. But let's start with our squads. Brendan O'Neill signs a 3-year deal with the Wings. He's going to wear number 34, which is amazing. And the Wings also, this is just so Philly. Philadelphia Wings signed Will Smith to a 1-year deal.
Fresh Prince?
The Fresh Prince of box lacrosse coming home.
Oh, that is hilarious. Coming home. I'm here for it, though. I mean, obviously signing Brendan O'Neill to a 3-year deal is huge. You're going to get him there, and it sounds like he's going to play. And from what I've heard from other players about Brendan O'Neill and his box abilities is they're all excited to either play with him or excited to see what he does as he plays.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. And the Wings also Because I remember, I forget who I was talking to on Twitter when I said when Ben McIntosh signed with the San Diego Seals, it felt like Brennan O'Neill to the Wings was that much more likely. And I remember you and I talking about that too, where I said, okay, Ben's gone. I know they play on different sides, but it feels more likely now that the Wings are going to invest long term in somebody like Brennan O'Neill, who can be a franchise altering player now that they have space. And someone was like, well, Brennan's left handed and Ben is, it doesn't make sense unless I was like, don't be surprised if they trade Tate Katoni. You know, Tate's a great player, but he's more of a depth player. When you have guys on this team that are already depth players and you did so much in the dispersal draft with Panther City, it made Tate Katoni, in my opinion, that much more expendable. And the Wings did just that earlier this week. They signed Tate to a 1-year deal, and then they traded him to the Buffalo Bandits with a 6th-round pick in the 2026 entry draft in exchange for a 2025 6th-round pick in the entry draft. And I think this is just good for both parts. I think Tate adds that depth element and plays well in that Buffalo Bandits style of lacrosse, and he'll fit well there. And the Wings get a 2025 6th-round draft pick. I think that's a win, and it opens up another depth spot for the Wings too that is going to just allow Brennan to grow as well and be a full-fledged part of this offense. And the Wings also signed Scott Dominy and Liam Patton to 2-year deals, which is huge. Liam Patton's going to be that enforcer type of defenseman. He's not the biggest guy, but he's somebody that's going to get scrappy. He's not afraid to throw down and get physical with you. And I'm happy he's back. And I think that was one of the big takeaways from the entry draft or the dispersal draft. I'm sorry, for the Wings. And we talked about it a little bit too when it happened. Like the Wings got pieces in that draft that they have been craving for years now, with a big body defenseman in Connor Sellers, and going and getting your enforcer to replace I'm already blanking on his name, Ian Lord, who's 40 years old, and that's no slight to Ian Lord. Good on him to be playing at 39, 40 years old, but you needed to get younger there, and Liam Patton is just that. And he knows this team. He knows Ian Rubel because he was here when the Wings first came back, and now you have him under contract for 2 years. And I think the signings that the Wings are putting forward are big time. You know, they signed Mike McCannell to a 1-year deal, put him on the active roster. Unfortunately, they released Marcus Minichiello. I think he's a talented player and could get picked up somewhere and really shine. If he doesn't get signed to our practice squad, obviously. But I think what the Wings are doing right now is huge, and this team is going to look a little different than it did last year and the year before, but in a good way. And this coaching staff is ready to rock and roll, and I'm excited for when this team finally gets to play in front of the Philadelphia fans again this year in December.
I like, the defensive pieces there. I think that's the big thing. We talked about that a lot last year in terms of like it felt like the defense was kind of letting the offense down in certain stance points, and the offense then didn't really help in return because there was so much pressure on them. So I think things kind of evened out with the team in terms of the defensive talent that comes in should bolster that side of the ball and at least make them better than what they have been the last couple of years, which will take some of the pressure off of, the offense and will allow them to play a little more loosely. And then there's a lot of familiarity. There's a lot of familiar faces rolling through, Wells Fargo now in terms of old guys coming back and then how they will mesh with the new guys. So I like what you guys have done over there.
I have jersey analytics for you too. The Wings put out new jersey numbers a couple days ago for the new
Okay.
guys. So Anthony, aka Big Tone Malcolm, is gonna be wearing number 2. Zayden Blake, great name by the way, is wearing number 4. Riley Ford is gonna be wearing number 5. Connor Sellers is gonna be wearing number 7. Phil Caputo is wearing number 9, last worn by Trevor Baptiste. Liam Patton is back in his patented, no pun intended, number 12. I don't know who last name Harland is, but he's wearing number 14. Tyler Burton is wearing number 17. Tristan Kirkham is wearing number 18. Nathan Fair is wearing number 20. Dalton Young is wearing number 21. I hope he makes the team, man. I feel like him playing box and him being somebody that Brendan O'Neill is familiar with from the Outlaws would be so fun to watch too. And I think he's like a sneaky like depth guy on offense for this team.
I am a big fan of Dalton Young, more so in the outdoor game. I've never seen him play box. So
Yeah, I think
don't
this would be his
know
first year playing box.
what to expect. But I think it will just help him in playing all year round. And I think it helps just the sport. The more people that are playing in both leagues, it's good for the sport all around.
Brandon Hund, who I'm sure you know from college, played at Towson and he played at Rutgers last year. He's wearing number 23. Steve Della Manache, I'm sorry if I butchered that. He was part of the Greater Philadelphia College Box Lacrosse League. He's wearing number 25. Holden Patterson is wearing number 28. Matt Kuhn is wearing number 32. Brendan is obviously wearing number 34. Nick Damude is wearing number 39. Chris Jordan Jr. is wearing number 40. He played at Penn State. Stone Jacobs, great name. He's wearing number 43. So those are your new numbers for the Philadelphia Wings going into training camp.
I mean,
not bad.
I don't hear any atrocious numbers, so
we've seen worse.
They have that going for them.
I think Damude at 39 only works because he's a goalie.
Yes.
And 39 is like such a box lacrosse goalie number because they are so like wide. But yeah, I don't hate the numbers there. Some other big signings, both the Messenger cousins are.
Whoa! What? We're not doing
this. Is a first. This is a first. This is why I'm bringing it up.
Not now.
This is why I'm bringing it up.
No,
this is cool. This is history right here.
We are not moving past. We're not going to just talk about your favorite team and not talk about mine.
I just wanted to bring this up.
They can come after my Roughnecks. It's time.
Go ahead, Mr. We're rebuilding.
I mean, we kind of are, but like
signed two of the most prolific players in league history.
Okay, listen. The boys are back in town. Okay, the boys are back in town. Curtis Dixon, back in a Roughnecks jersey. Dane Dobbie, back in a Roughnecks jersey. Jesse King in a Roughnecks jersey. Tyler Pace still in a Roughnecks jersey. Like, beat it to me. Brandon Mayea signed for a year. I think they just want to see what he's got, and they're going to make some moves there. Now, the piece I'm concerned with is what's going between the pipes. I'm all about the Fry man, okay? Let me just throw that out there. Steve Fryer can air fry up any team he wants this year. I am all for him being in the pipes. But I'm not going to sit here and act like he's better than Christian Del Bianco, because he's not. And if we can get CDB re-signed and back in a Roughnecks jersey, and we can get all the boys back in town, I like the Roughnecks to have a pretty good season. The only thing we need to do after that is bring back the red. Bring back the championship red. Because if you noticed, we ain't been too good since we switched over to grayscale.
Yeah, it's just trash, to be honest.
Bring back the championship red. Get Christian Del Bianco in a Roughnecks jersey. And who says we're not winning the NLL Cup this year?
The Bandits.
We can beat the Bandits. We can beat the Bandits. Wait, you think we can't beat the Seals?
Hey,
Wait, hold on. What are the two? Who are the two reasons why the Seals have beat the Roughnecks the last couple of years? Can you please tell me the two names, please?
Yeah, but who?
No. Say them. Say them.
Yeah, and they did the same thing this year too. Zach Currier, come on down.
Listen,
Zach Currier, Trevor Baptiste on the same team is
we not
disgusting.
gonna talk about Zach Currier leaving right now. That's still a sore subject. We talking about what's in town right now.
He remembered that he left. He's like, God damn it, the rebuild's back on.
I already knew. I just was ignoring it on purpose. Some things you just ignore until you can't. Okay, and I'll tell you when I can't. It's gonna be week 1 when we open up and he not out there on the floor, and I'm gonna go, yeah, he do play for another team, don't he?
It's been a long day.
Facts. Like I can't. I'm gonna leave that where it's at. But in the time being, signing Christian Del Bianco back to this team is the main concern. If we can somehow convince him to come back to Calgary, you got to pull out the CFP 25, guarantee a championship motivation to get him to stay. Like, do your job, coach. Do your job, GM. Get him back in the building.
The more the days go by, and I do have one more Wings thing to touch on before we move to the other members of the league too. There's another big signing, but the more the days go by, the more I feel like Christian Del Bianco is almost just comfortable sitting out the season. I could be wrong, but the way that like it is unfolded, and now as we sit here on October 11th, and we're a month and a half away from the season kicking off, the more the days go by, the more I feel like he's just kind of comfortable with that being the case.
Listen, you telling me, and it terrifies me.
And I mean, like, can you blame him? Like,
no.
Everyone knows his situation. He wants to be closer to home because of things he has going on in his life this year. And I genuinely think his relationship with Kurt was a fracturing thing with him and the Roughnecks. Now, this is just us talking on the surface. We don't know anything. But that's kind of what it has felt like, you know. You see all your guys leaving. You know, Dane Dobbie and Curtis Dixon leave. Zach Currier now leaves. And now it's like Curtis and Dane are back, but it's like at what cost? You know, Kurt leaves last year, who's been there since Christian has been there. And he's coaching and GMing where Christian is from. At what point does like it become not the juice not being worth the squeeze for Christian Del Bianco and how talented he is?
I 100% agree. I just am selfishly wanting him back in the building because there's very few names that are up with his when it comes to goaltending in the NLL right now. So to be able to say he's on your team is a blessing. And as of right now, you know, we're kind of letting him walk out the door, but there's a chain reaction of events that has been going on here. So it's not just as simple as re-signing him. So I do understand that point. It really sucks to see the people that are leaving, to see them leaving is a major concern of mine, because that makes me feel like there's a bigger problem that we obviously don't know about because we're not on the inside.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of like shakes out. Roughnecks also signed the biggest mashup name of two of our guys, Kieran McKay, to a 1-year deal. And they also signed Aiden Hinson, Jack Follows, and Carter Cook because they need every single person with the last name Cook on their roster to 2-year deals as well. I'm trying to see if there's anything here. They also signed back at the end of September Luke Williams to a 2-year deal and Ethan Ticehurst to a 1-year deal. That Ticehurst signing is sneaky good. Don't know if there was anything else with them recently. Well, Dane Dobbie being it's on a 1-year deal. I forget if we said how long. It's a 1-year deal for Dane. But the other signing for the Wings, they signed friend of the program, Alex Pace, to a 3-year deal. That's huge. Alex Pace is such a momentum, like gritty, smart defenseman. And I think he's like one of the more underrated players. And we don't use the word underrated, but nobody talks about Alex Pace and how good he is. Especially like on this roster is so key. So that's a huge signing for the Wings there. Around the league, the Messenger cousins are playing on the same team for the first time. Mike Messenger and Evan Messenger, both on the Saskatchewan Rush. The Rush also signed Levi Anderson to a 1-year deal and placed him on the active roster. I might have been 1 year early on the Saskatchewan Rush being back. Levi is going to be a menace in this league.
Levi Anderson's great, and he's a good pickup for them. Just the way he uses his body and how smart he is with this stick, I think it will pay off, and it'll just matter, how they use him and which positions they're able to get him into. But I feel like he'll fit into their offense and their scheme very well, and he'll be able to shine. And he also has the ability to be an outside shooter as well. So
Yeah,
he definitely has the pieces to be a very good offensive NLL player.
I don't know if it's confirmed or not, but like I need to know if Josh Sawad is playing because he's also like property, quote unquote, of his rights are with the Saskatchewan Rush. And if him and Levi are on the same team, whew, that'd be nasty. And I know you know that firsthand.
As someone who has seen him play in person too many times to count, yes.
Both in college and
Yes.
pro.
Both in college and pro. Yes, you are correct. He is next level.
So nice on that team. Hey, shout out to the boy, Chase Frazier. 1-year deal with the Bandits. He's back. Emerson Clark and Trent Robertson also with the Bandits. The Las Vegas Desert Dogs signed my guy Matt Bennett, Nick Ellerton, and Max Wayne to 1-year deals. Let's see. Brian Cameron was signed to a 1-year deal by the Toronto Rock and placed on the active roster from the draft list. It does not sound. Now we always do this every single year, and we mix up some of these lists. I don't know what the draft list is. I think it might just be like the temporary holdout thing for draft picks. But the Rock placed Alex Messier, Connor Schellenberger, and Sam English on the draft list. So that sounds like to me they're not playing,
right?
At least this year. Rochester Nighthawks placed Kevin Orleman on the active roster. That's a good sign for Kevin. Let's see if there's anything else before. Yeah, and then late September too, Albany signed Ethan Walker to a 3-year deal. JP Ward, son of a Sam, Brendan Hoshman, and Jackson Raposo to 2-year deals. And the Rush signed the ultimate lacrosse name, Caleb Creaser, to a 1-year deal. That is such a, like, everyone needs that jersey. Creaser is like such a, that is a perfect lacrosse name.
I do like that name a lot.
One thing we definitely have to talk about with the NLL is the Albany Firewolves signed a 6-year agreement to remain at MVP Arena. And that's a big deal, in my opinion. And I know DJ agrees with me. After seeing a dispersal draft like we did earlier this summer, to a lot of uncertainty with people talking about Albany and it just not being ideal for fans, for everything with the setup there, to know that there's a little bit of stability for the next half decade plus with the Albany Firewolves is a great sign, especially for a team coming off an NLL finals appearance.
Yeah, I mean, It just means that the community is bought into it, and everybody around sees that this is a team that they enjoy having in town. It's a team that they want to continue to support, and when your team is successful, people are more bound to be around you. Even just making it to the finals, like, that's fine. Like, you don't even have to win it. You just going makes more people believe, makes more people want to come. Those games in the playoffs were so exciting for Albany. You could feel the energy through the television on certain nights. So you can tell that the community is not only about lacrosse, but is about the Firewolves and the opportunity to have a professional team right there in their city. Not every city can say that. Having a true professional team in your city, it should mean a lot to you, and Albany is showing that by asking this team to stay for 6 more years because they know that they're gonna have the community behind them.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at the talent on that team, and we talked about it all season long last year. They're the youngest team on average age scale in the league. I'm pretty sure their oldest player, old quote unquote, is Joe Nardella, and he's my age. Like in the grand scheme of things, that roster is so young. They're adding a young Dyson Williams to that roster this year too. They are poised, like if they continue to play at the levels that they did last year with guys like Dyson Williams, Ethan Walker, Ty Kurtz, Alex Simmons, Joe Nards at the stripe, and having the goaltending play out of our guy Doug Jameson, you're poised for success for the long term with that roster. And I think a lot of teams in the NLL would tell you that they're envious of the roster construction of the Albany Firewolves right now. And while it is awesome that they went from worst to almost first last year, I think that does add a lot of expectation on your young players too now, where it's like, hey, you did what you had to do to get to a championship. Now, that weight is on your shoulders to finish the job. And I think when you have guys that have won at so many different levels on that team, they're certainly capable of doing it. But I hope that fans continue to pack out MVP Arena, because now you know that your team is staying put. And I think that's a huge relief if you're a fan of the Firewolves, if you're a fan of the NLL, is knowing, okay, this is another team we can at least take a deep breath on. And for the next 6 years, or I should say 7, because including this year, I'm pretty sure that team is anchored there, and we don't have to worry about another team moving. We don't have to worry about another team folding. Like, they are here to stay. That's a great sign. And you have, in my opinion, one of the best coaches and GMs in the league in Glenn Clark. He's wildly talented. Look at the way he's built this roster, and look at the way he coaches that team. And that dates back to when he was coaching and GMing with the New England Black Wolves. It's translated over to here. And also, don't be surprised if Marcus Minichiello ends up on that Firewolves team, because who's the head coach of Jamaica Lacrosse, Deej? That would be one Glenn Clark. Who plays for Team Jamaica? Marcus Minichiello.
Yes, he does. I did know he played for Team Jamaica, but I did not know who their coach was.
It would not surprise me if Marcus ends up going there if the Wings don't retain him. That's almost like you heard it here first, folks.
Sioux Fire. Mm-hmm. That's one of yours.
Yeah,
You feel like you put that together.
You heard it here on episode 344 of OTB. If Marcus Minichiello ends up on the Firewolves, you heard it here first. And I mean, you look at that Firewolves team too, like we said, with the young talent and just the mix of veterans on the team too. Like, they're poised to be in contention for a championship for the duration of that rental agreement at MVP Arena, like year in, year out for the next 6-7 years. I'd be shocked if they're not a playoff team damn near every year.
I mean, yeah, they're young and they're only going to get better. They're going to continue to add good pieces to this team. And I think the coaching is really what you're able to point out here. They did a phenomenal job of adjusting in games last year and continuing to keep themselves in the best positions to be successful on all sides of the floor. Those things are all returning. and they're only going to continue to get smarter. And with the community backing them, that's what's really going to help, is that these home games are going to continue to have that energy that they've had, and that is absolutely stellar. And that's how you build a successful franchise, is by having everyone who's involved. That's front office, that's players, that's coaches, that's fans, media, all really bought in. It's really paying. It's going to pay off at some point, and you're starting to see some of the fruits of that labor from Albany.
And like, let's not forget, they have a guy like John Wagner that they traded for at the trade deadline last year, who's back on this team, who's a core defenseman for them. You look at, somebody who's a leader on that team like Colton Watkinson. You have Jackson Nishimura back. Marshall Powless is back. And all the young guys that we've mentioned, plus all the guys that they've added through the draft this year, through free agency, and adding somebody like Dyson Williams, like having the ability to put these guys on the floor at the same time on offense. Dyson Williams, Ty Kurtz, Alex Simmons, Travis Longboat, and Marshall Powless. That's crazy.
That actually is a pretty dangerous squad. No matter how you cut it, you can get attacked from multiple angles there.
Oh, and Ethan
a lot
Walker.
Of smart guys. Ethan Walker's pretty good in the box game.
He's pretty good.
He had an okay season this year outdoor. I know that's probably still a sore subject, but
I just hope he's good.
I think he will be.
I hope that's one of those things that like he kind of washes what happened this summer and gets back on track this winter, and it gets back on track next summer for the Water Dogs. But this team is nasty. Like, they are a team. Like, we'll have our League Pass Team of the Year later this month, probably, or early November, when we do our picks for that. I'm saying off the rip, like, if you're a new fan to the NLL and you want to, get into the game, you want to have like fun, exciting lacrosse to watch week in and week out, the Albany Firewolves should be on your TV every single week.
Absolutely. They're an extremely exciting team to watch. They're simply just fun. They come out and put out the best week in and week out. And it probably has to do with them being young, being able to
young, talented offense, rock solid defense. Their transition game is one of the best. And you have a top 6 goalie in the world. That makes for an elite fun team. And we're not even saying they're our League Pass team just yet. But off the rip, if you're new to the NLL, because I've seen a bunch of people looking for teams to watch, who their favorite team should be. I want to get into the NLL this year. The Albany Firewolves are almost, not even almost, I would say they're appointment television. Like, if they're playing and they're on the schedule, you should have one of your TV screens or a laptop screen open with the Firewolves game on. And imagine us saying this 2 years ago, bro.
I know, that would be
where it was like death
insane.
by 1,000 cuts defense, trying to win, 9-7, and it was just like not fun at all unless you were a Firewolves fan.
I don't even think they enjoyed
and
that.
And even then, it was like, come on, man, can we be a little better? But now it's like you have a high-octane offense. You have elite goaltending. You have one of the best face-off guys, indoor, outdoor, on the planet. And you're young. Like, you have a team to grow with, too. And that's super fun. So I think this year, appointment television is the Albany Firewolves for sure.
Can't miss television. I don't even know how to put it out there that they played some of the best ball we've seen, and it's just all excitement. It's up and down the entire game. The entire game, they're up and down. There's not much that is slow about their game now at all, and that's a complete 180 from the last couple of years.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if, because I saw the Firewolves have like their promotional schedule out. I want to see if our teams have their promotional schedules out. Let's see. I will say this for Wings fans, this is huge because remember last year and the year before, quite the last 2 years, Teach, we talked about it where the Wings started on the road and had like 3 straight road games before they came home to play a game, and then they'd finish the year 3 or 4 straight games on the road. I think now the benefit, quote unquote, of a team no longer existing is it evens out the schedule a little bit. The Wings don't have anything more than 2 straight road games this year at a given time. They have early in the season, they're at Las Vegas, at Saskatchewan, but they also start the season on the road at San Diego, but it's broken up by a bye week and a home game. And
Oh,
then they have 3 straight home games, January 19th, February 1st, February 8th, and then 2 road games, 2 home games again. And then after that, they go road, home, road, home, road. So nothing more than 2 straight weeks on the road for the Wings this year, which I think is in the grand scheme for any team, that's a benefit because dealing with it with my high school football schedule this year, we started with 4 straight road games before our kids had a home game. And I was talking with one of the assistant coaches, like, imagine if we had started 1-3 or 0-4. There'd be no built up momentum and hype for the fans and the student section and everything to want to
yeah.
come out to the game. When you start your season, even at the professional level, 2-3 straight games on the road or 2 games bye week and then you're at home, like that off time there's not a lot that can be garnered back by your fans if you start slow. I think it's huge that the Wings are on the road at San Diego to start the season on face-off weekend, and then they have a bye week, which hopefully they come out with a win, so then there's goodwill after the bye, and then you're home on a Saturday night against Las Vegas. That's big time for this team, and I think we should all be happy about how a lot of the scheduling has played out for a lot of these teams. Um, I'm looking to see. So the Roughnecks theme nights are coming soon, apparently. Um, Also, you know how like when you go to a website and like the mascot pops up and it's like, "Can we answer a question for you?" The Roughnecks now have a bear with the hard hat on. I've never seen that before.
I don't know what it's about. I saw that the other day and I was like,
He's he, he's
this
kind of
must
cool.
be like a trolling joke.
He's kind of
Like
cool.
it is, but I think it has to it must I think it's kind of like a joke with the Ottawa Black Bears to some extent.
And like,
There's a lot of beef between Calgary and Ottawa, by the way. Just in general, just a livelihood
yeah,
beef.
same thing for the Roughnecks. I'm looking at their schedule right now. Like, you start 2 straight on the road, but you have a bye opening weekend, and then you're home, then you're at Philly, and then home, home, away, away, home, 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 away, away, home, home, away, away, home. Like, I don't think you can discredit that fact for the scheduling in the NLL this year that they're doing a much better job of balancing the schedule, not only in terms of opponents played, but in terms of how long a team spends on the road, how long a team is at home, and making it as even as possible and not these long stretches where, in particular, we saw it firsthand with the Wings because I'm covering the team every single week, where pretty much the entire month of April last year and the year before, the Wings were on the road. What do you gain from that as a team? And I feel like that had to have been something that was brought up this offseason to be like, we're losing so much here because we're not filling the arena. And I get, the Flyers and the Sixers in the case point of the Wings get first dibs over them for scheduling purposes because they are 2 of the 4 major 4 sports. But to lose out on an entire month and you're jam packing games in and you're playing, you know, we saw the last 2 years the Wings have Monday night lacrosse, Thursday night lacrosse. We've seen, we'll see it this year. The Wings have 3 1 p.m. games on Saturdays, which I'm not mad about. Like, that's fun because it means there's a doubleheader one way or the other. But it's one of those things. I'd rather you have a 1 p.m. start in March or a 1 p.m. start early in the season. That way, you're not taken away from your fans.
Mm-hmm. I think, yeah, we this has been talked about a lot on social media, like people wanting better scheduling, and I agree. You have to kind of balance the games out. I think it's better for fans who are watching. Like, sure, I have ESPN Plus that allows you to multicast, and I can watch all 4 games that start at that have first face off at 7 p.m. But everybody doesn't have that set up, so now you're
Right.
making them choose between what game they want to watch. And then there's also just a matter of being able to watch lacrosse all day is like something we crave. Like, sure, there's like college lacrosse, but like being able to like go from a college game to a pro game to a college game to a pro game and being able to choose, or having a college game on one screen and then maybe a pro game on another screen, like all these things are options we would like to have as lacrosse fans, because you look at football, you look at baseball, you look at hockey, you look at basketball, they're able to schedule their games out while also having availability to watch other games at the same time as well. It's just a part of being a fan of a sport at this point in life.
Yeah, and it just makes it easier for the casual fan to tune in and knowing, like, just kind of what to expect from a schedule. Like, you go into a new sport, and I think we all felt this way over the years with the PLL. Like, you didn't know per se what the schedule was going to be year one. So it's like, okay, we're getting used to it now. Then, 2021, it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it's like new acclamations there. And then the last couple of years, it's kind of been either Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday. And it's like you kind of get into a routine of knowing when your sport's going to be on TV. You look at the NFL, it's Thursday, Sunday, Monday. And then when the playoffs roll around, sometimes there's that Saturday game thrown in there. You look at, prime time NBA is what, Tuesdays and Fridays is the in-season tournament now, and when the games are on TNT, and who knows what it'll be like now with the new broadcast scheduling rights and everything moving forward after this season. Baseball, Friday night baseball is on Apple TV Plus, Sunday night baseball is on ESPN, and Tuesday's the MLB Network Showcase. Like, if you pay attention enough to a sport, when certain games are going to be on, and kind of the flow and routine of a sports schedule. And hockey's what, Tuesdays on TNT,
I think so now, yeah.
something like that. So I mean, it's one of those things that as you grow with the sport and you get more connected to a sport, you learn the nuances of the way that they want to approach things, and how they um kind of just build out their schedule. And it'll be cool, you know, I'd say maybe 5 years down the line when we have like the PLL ESPN game of the week being broadcast in that manner. Like, hey, this game is featured as this. And like, we as fans know that that's kind of the deal because it's on linear television, whether it's ESPN2, ESPN, or, something of that nature. But it'll be cool when we have the NLL kind of embracing that too, where it's like, oh, this is the NLL game of the week, and not just kind of pitching it to your Canadian fans. And it's the NLL game of the week on TSN. You can do that here too, and have the NLL game of the week on ESPNU or ESPN News. I don't care what channel it is. That's the channel that the game of the week is going to be on. I don't care if it's not the big flashy just ESPN main channel. Broadcast it that way. Then your sport gets this like stature level almost, and it's building kind of just a a currency with your fans of like, hey, we have something to look forward to this week because this game's going to be on TV. This isn't on streaming. This is on cable TV. Tuning in here, and it just makes the sport that much cooler.
Absolutely. But like I also think some of that comes with time,
Mhm.
and those spots do cost a little bit more money and like
For
things like
sure.
that. So like I do
That's why I
think
said, like,
there's
5, 7 years down the
I'll
line,
say
like,
yeah, there's an art to it, but some of that does have to be done for sure.
yeah. And especially with the NLL, if you're gonna kinda market yourself as the next major league, you have to take those steps forward.
Absolutely. Or you're never going to be a major league.
Like, you have to, and we've talked about this off pod, and I've talked to people about it off pod, like, the NLL has to not only embrace its Canadian audience the way that it does, which is a huge part of its audience, obviously, but you also have to embrace your American audience in a similar fashion. The way that things are marketed, it feels like you're kind of excluding half your fan base because you look at the teams in the league. Like, sure, upstate New York has 3 teams that, are close to Canada, but Albany, Buffalo, Colorado, Georgia, Las Vegas, Philadelphia, Rochester, San Diego. That's 8 of your 4. More than half your league is based in the United States. Give your US fan base something, because more often than not, it feels like the US fan base of the NLL gets excluded from a lot of things. And whether it's just marketing, where it's like, oh, this is the game of the week on TSN, that makes you feel like you're cutting off half your fan base because TSN doesn't exist here. And yes, the normal smart people understand that it's on ESPN, but from a marketing point of view, it it cuts off half your fan base, and that's not good marketing.
I think it cuts off the chance to get randoms.
Yeah,
And I think that's where it's a bigger thing. I think American lacrosse people, like people who are already into lacrosse here in America, like we're not that phased by it. Like we understand Box is a Canadian product and like all those things of that piece. But like you're saying, someone who has no real clue, they're gonna go, "Oh, TSN, we don't have that, okay," and move on. And like you're alienating yourself from potential fans because you're not marketing to them or
right.
what would apply to them.
Yeah. Um, so let us know how you feel about that in the YouTube comment section. We are going to talk about the USA Lacrosse Experience going on in Indianapolis, but I want to talk to you guys about a couple things first, including the PLL app and our PLL app code. Everything's back on track now that the PLL is out of their dark week and articles are flowing through the app. Updates are coming through all the time. There's polls that you can answer to get involved and help the league grow, which is one of the coolest parts about the app. Is it is a tool that we know firsthand Brendan Coleman and the entire league use to make sure that your experience with the PLL is enhanced and that much better. PLL fantasy during the year is in the app. There's trivia, and you can earn experience points throughout the week by doing different tasks. I think a gamified league app is the way of the future, and the faster that every other league kind of catches on to that, the better. And I hope it takes them a while because the PLL is doing it the best possible way. So download the PLL app either in the App Store or Google Play Store, or go to pll.app. And when you go to the redeem code section on the app, use code OTBPOD. That's code OTBPOD for 500 points on your account of XP. And when you level up with XP in the app, which I'm just about to earn some XP right now because I sent DJ an article. When you get more points in the app, you level up and it unlocks different perks and experiences for you. And Deej, you're on that MVP status, so you get a nice little discount in the PLL shop. You get different perks that the person just starting off does not get. I'm right behind you. I'm ever so close to getting MVP status. But download the PLL app, and it's cool. Like during the season, if you get to certain stages, like you get 3 times the amount of voting for All Star, 3 times the amount of voting for voting rights, for each positional group during the All-Star break. You get a monthly merch discount. You can join the All-Star Fantasy group, or whatever level you're on. You get access to that fantasy group. You get access to a collection of merch that is only available for that level in the app. And you get, I'm on All-Star mode. I don't even know what it is for MVP mode, Deej, but I get 5 times seat upgrade giveaway entries.
I think it's 10.
So during the season, you can get up to 10 entries to upgrade your seats at a PLL weekend, which is insane if you get to Deej's level, which I'm surprised he hasn't said get on my level yet. So download the PLL app and use code OTBPOD for 500 XP on your account. And Deej, I'm excited to talk about this next one here. This next partner I'm excited to talk about. I was going through the partnership portal that we're in, and you guys know Deej has been on his survivor grind, which we'll check in with before we get into the USA Lacrosse Experience as well. And I stumbled upon something that I was like, this is way too good to be true. There's no way that this is in our partner portal. And I looked at the details of it, and they only had a 39% acceptance rate for partnership. And I sent it to Deej. And then I get the email back, and I FaceTimed him immediately, and my phone just up on the screen. And DJ's eyes lit up like fireworks on the 4th of July. We are very happy because you have to give your reason for applying. I said, hey, we're big fans of Survivor. We're potentially starting a Survivor podcast with a PLL pro. Colin, let us know. Deej, we officially have a brand partnership with Buff, the official neckwear of Survivor.
Yes, sir.
I don't think I've ever seen your face like light up that way so instantaneously when I showed you that email.
I was so happy because that means we can really start putting in some work on this Survivor, John.
Yes. And, fall ball is going on right now for a lot of lacrosse teams at all levels. Winter time's rolling around. Buff has everything you could possibly need to keep your face, your hands, and your head protected. They are the official neckwear brand of Survivor. You obviously know the buffs that each members of each tribe are wearing. They have headwear, they have gloves, they have apparel, they have the buff neckwear, they have the Survivor edition available. They have regular, just black and white that you can wear. Keep your face protected, especially when it gets windy and everything. That is like the worst thing ever, is getting windburn. I don't care what you're doing. If you're outside playing lacrosse, if you're just walking outside to go to work, keep your face perfectly protected, because windburn is not the way to go. That shit hurts.
It does hurt a lot.
Like the worst. The Survivor buffs are amazing too. They are the best. And if you're into running, hiking, cycling, everyday stuff, Buff has you covered. Click the link in the description. And in 2023, Buff became a B Corp certified corporation with a score of 105.7. 90% of all their manufacturing happens in-house in Barcelona. Their facilities are powered by 100% renewable energy, and they achieved carbon neutrality in 2023 in all of their direct operations. So click the link in the description. Get your buff today, including the Survivor Season 47 buffs that each tribe was wearing. They have them individually, and they have the collector's pack available as well. Link in the description. Go get your buffs. I know DJ is going to be buying every single one under the sun now that we're partnered with Buff. DJ is going to be wearing these on the sideline when he's coaching. I can already see it. You're going to have it on your head.
What?
You're going to have it on your head. You're going to be in the huddle with your team, breaking down pregame huddle. Survivor's ready? Let's go.
Hey, bro. I'm going to buy one to hand out to the survivor of the game. You have immunity from all gassers this week. Imagine I start handing out an immunity idol for
That's
gassers, and it's just a buff
hilarious.
necklace.
Yeah, so go get your buffs today. We're super pumped to be partnered up with Buff. And the more and more we get through this, the more and more it looks like we're starting this Survivor podcast each, whether it's just me and you off the rip and then Colin joins us down the line. But you're into season 2 of Survivor, and I'm sure you're seeing some awesome buffs. But like I said, click that link in the description and get your buff today, including the Survivor season 47 buffs that you see each of the tribes wearing, the yellow, red, and blue. They look absolutely incredible. And thank you to Buff for partnering with Underground Sports Philadelphia and the Outside the Box podcast.
Yeah, season 2 is going awesome so far. Chef Lame is okay. His name is Chef Amy, but I started calling him Chef Fame, and then I quickly had to pivot to Chef Lame because homie cannot make rice. He couldn't make them white rice. They were complaining about his white rice, but he's like a 5-star chef. Like, it's not making sense. So he's now Chef Lame. But he is from Michigan, so like he's got that going for him. Alicia's a badass. I think she's probably my favorite to win right now.
Is that all she is?
Listen, bro, we not gonna do all that. All right, that's unnecessary. That's unnecessary. I like the way she's playing the game right now. But yeah, I am still early on in season 2. I've taken a couple day hiatus. I will be back at it, as you guys can probably tell because I've not tweeted about it. Honestly, if you want to know exactly how Survivor's going right now, at any point in this, just follow me on Twitter and it's there. I promise. I do not miss an opportunity to live tweet an old event.
How
like
far
it's really
along?
happening.
How far along are you?
I'm season 2, episode like 3 or 4. Like I'm not very far at all.
So there's a moment that happens in this season that you're gonna be like, what the fuck? And like in hindsight, it's like, hey, good riddance, pal. But in the moment, you're like, holy shit. I'm not gonna give you why in hindsight it's like good riddance, pal. But when you get to that point, I'm sure I will be getting an all caps text from you. But it is one of the 2 people that are from Michigan.
Okay. It's probably the other one. I forgot his name. Mark?
Michael.
Mike, yep. Okay. But also they're wrong for how they did my boy Kel. They thought Mans was chewing on some beef jerky. So they went through his bag. They didn't just ask him, they went through his bag. That's so wrong. And then he's like, "Nah, I was chewing on some grass." They're like, "How you know the grass ain't dangerous?" He's like, "It just looked like grass. I mean, if I die, I die." Like, that's pretty much what it sounded like. He's like, "Bro, I'm just trying to survive." And everything in me really hopes that we find out it was beef jerky that he was actually chewing on, because that would just make it so I would laugh so hard.
Also, one half of the Survivor royal family is on this season.
Okay.
That is Amber.
I'm indifferent on Amber right now. I don't know how I feel.
Also, I don't know if last week you had finished season 1.
Not yet. I hadn't finished season 1
How
yet.
did season 1
I honestly couldn't believe that Richard won. I called that out maybe like episode like 2. I was like, "Yo, Rich, like he got a solid little chance." Like he a little sneaky one, but he played a good game and ended up winning in the end. I honestly think Kelly being a woman came back to bite her, because she just like had scorned feelings on the way out with some women, which I think they just voted against her to be a scorned woman about
in
it.
the year
Like
2000, like
yeah, like so I think there was that piece. Like honestly, I honestly think Kelly or Rudy should have won. But I was not surprised that Rich won. But it was absolutely hilarious. You could tell people were just being themselves.
Speech.
And oh, bro. me and Sue got the same kind of energy, bro. Me and Sue got the same kind of energy because she was like, I'm not finna lie to you. I'm voting for Rich, and that's that. You suck, and this is how I feel about it. This is why I feel the way I feel, and I don't care how you feel about it. And I hope other people up here kind of feel the same way I do. But to be honest, I hope my vote is the one vote that makes sure Rich wins. I was like, oh
Snakes
my
and
God.
rats.
I was like, hey, she's not lying. The world is made of snakes and rats. For
She
real.
said, I have no questions. I just have statements.
She came with it like, this is what it is. I was so here
This
for
is the
that.
whole speech. If you have never watched Survivor, or if you have and you forget the speech, it is an all-time Survivor moment, and it happens in season 1. And I told Deej that this was going to happen, and I'm so happy it resonated with you.
Yes.
So Sue was voted out. She's part of the jury, and in Survivor, the jury gets to give like their thoughts at the final tribal council. And Sue comes up and says, I have no questions. I just have statements. Rich, you're a very openly arrogant, pompous human being, but I admire your frankness with it. You have worked hard to get where you're at, and you started working hard way before you come to the island. So with my work ethic background, I give that credit to you. But on the other hand, your inability to admit your failures without going into a whiny speech makes you a bit of a loser in life. Kelly, the rafting persona queen. You did get stomped on national TV by a city boy that never swam, let alone been in the woods or jungle or rowed a boat in his life. You sucked on that game. Anyways, I was your friend at the beginning of this, really thinking that you were a true friend. I was willing to be sitting there and put you next to me. At that time, you were sweeter than me. I'm not a very openly nice person. I'm just frank forward and tell you the way that it is. To have you sit there next to me and me lose $900,000 just to stomp on somebody like this. But as the game went along and the two tribes merged, you lied to me, which showed me the true person that you are. You're very two-faced and manipulative to get where you're at anywhere in life. That's why you fail all the time. So at that point of the game, I decided then just to go out with my alliance to my family and just hold on to my dignity and values in check, and hoping that I hadn't lost too many of them, and play the game just as long as possible and hang there as long as possible. But Kelly, go back to a couple of times Jeff said to you, what goes around comes around. It's here. You will not get my vote. My vote will go to Richard. And I hope that this is one vote that makes you lose the money. If it's not, so be it. I'll shake your hand and I'll go on from here. But if I were to ever pass you along in life again and you were laying there dying of thirst, I would not give you a drink of water. I would let the vultures take you and do whatever they want with you with no ill regrets. I plead to the jury tonight to think a little bit about the island that we have been on. This island is pretty much full of only two things, snakes and rats. And in the end of Mother Nature, we have Richard the snake, who knowingly went after prey, and Kelly, who turned into the rat that ran around like the rats do on this island, trying to run from the snake. I feel we owe it to the island spirits that we have learned to come to know, to let it be in the end the way that Mother Nature intended it to be, for the snake to eat the rat.
I forgot about that that vulture part, bro. I was like,
What a speech!
yo. I was like, Sue, you gonna let her die by the vultures? That's crazy. I was like, you could
I
if you
would
gonna let the
not give you a drink of water.
my thing is if you gonna let the vultures take her, you could have just gave her a little drink of water. Like if she's down that bad, that little drink of water ain't gonna give her enough energy to get up and run. but Sue really hate Kelly.
Facts.
She would throw them things with Kelly right now. Probably to this day, she'll probably still fight Kelly.
Dude, and this is how big Survivor was, like, for a show that was season 1. Back on August 23rd, 2000 was when the finale aired. The amount of viewers that watched the finale, 51.69 million. Like, that's unheard of today.
Yeah. Nobody watches that. No, not that many people watch anything in the world anymore.
Like,
It's
unless it's a sporting event or like
yep,
that's crazy.
a movie, something like that. But a TV show finale is not getting that kind of pull anymore.
What a speech. Sue was iconic for that shit.
Yeah, that's
We
a top
owe it
tier
to the
television moment.
spirits of the island. Like, god damn.
That's a top tier television moment.
Unreal. But yeah, season 2 is a banger. Season 2, oddly enough, the only season that's longer than 39 days ever. It's 42 days. I don't
Yeah,
know
you were
why.
telling me that.
I don't know why they switched to 42 for one season, but something tells me, like, looking back at it now, it's because it was in Australia. So just the travel there, and it's like, let's make the most of us being in this hemisphere and this far away, and making, like, the flights and everything kind of worth it. But who knows? I'll have to do some research on that. But Deej, the US Lacrosse Experience is happening in Indianapolis right now. Pat Cav and Liam Entenman were on the Pat McAfee show, and it was pretty funny seeing Pat McAfee and the boys learn that Canada's pretty good at lacrosse.
Yeah, they are. That was kind of funny. They're like, "Oh, wait, they're good?" And I'm like, "Buddy, yeah. Yeah, they've been good."
They were like, "What the fuck?"
It was so funny. Because now that they're good at sprints, it is starting to become an issue that Canada is good at things.
Yeah.
Like now it's kind of like I remember like watching them win, like they won like a 4x1 heat or something, and I went, wait, Canada can run now? we're in for it. Like they're just getting good at everything up there. They had maple syrup in hockey, that was fine.
So the roster for the USA Lacrosse Experience that is going on right now is pretty loaded, a pretty fun roster, and maybe a little insight on what we could see, parts of this roster being 4 years from now in the Olympics. But you have Grant Ament, Justin Anderson, Chris Eslanian, Piper Bond, Matt Campbell, Ryan Conrad, Xander Dixon, Liam Entenman, Pat Cav, Cole and Colin Kirst, TJ Malone, Asher Knowlting, Michael Sowers, Brian Tevlin, Ryan Tierney, and the only college player, Jake Taylor.
I'm excited for, to see the tweets and the clips that are going to come out since I'm not able to be there. I think it's awesome to have these kind of events. I think the more that we're able to get these events in places like Indiana where there is some lacrosse, what's the word I'm looking for? Presence, but not a ton. It's going to continue to grow. It's like kind of like having the All-Star game in Louisville. Like the more that they're able to do these like lacrosse experience things with the best players in the country at the moment, the better for the sport. Like I said, I'm dying to be there. I mean, it's $20 for 6 games
Steal.
across 2 days. That is a literal steal. And even if you only go for 1 day, you're getting 3 games for $15. That's phenomenal. And it's high pace. It's going to be fun. There's going to be tons of goals. Most likely going to see some big hits. It's a good time because the weather's going to be great this weekend in this area. Dude, it's going to be 81 degrees today here in Kalamazoo, like the Kalamazoo area. And I mean, and then it's going back to the mid 60s tomorrow, but still mid 60s is good weather. 80s is good weather. And you're going to see some of the best lacrosse you can see. No reason not to go other than having responsibilities like I do. So if you don't have any and you're in this area, you should have went. And if you're listening to this Saturday morning, like I'm anticipating this coming out, you still got time to go. So take the trip and go because I would love to be there. But it's going to be a great time. I'm excited to see the clips when they start rolling out.
There's one that came out about an hour ago. Grant Ament to Jake Taylor behind the back. Stung it against Columbia. That was nice. That was nice. Team USA beat Columbia 25-7, and they're going to play Puerto Rico today as well, and then on Saturday they'll play Great Britain. Will Mark is playing goalie for Puerto Rico, which is pretty cool. I think that's who he's playing for. I know Dan tweeted about Will Mark. I want to pull this up here.
There is a YouTube link though. Dan
That is
Arestia
nice.
did put it out. So for those who are at home, there will be games on YouTube for this event. Let me pull it up, see if I can find the page. It's going to be under it's
Yeah.
under USA Lacrosse is putting it on themselves. So if you're subscribed to USA Lacrosse, you should be able to quickly find that. If not, I think you can just search like USA Lacrosse Experience 2024, something along those lines, and it should pop up able for you to watch and enjoy.
Yeah, Will Mark's playing for Puerto Rico, so that's pretty cool for Puerto Rico to have a pro level goalie. Like Dan said, he's been stuffing people, so that's only an elevation too. You want to talk about growing the game. Like Team Puerto Rico has some players, and now you have a goalie of Will Mark's caliber playing for them. That's pretty sick.
Yeah, we need more teams continuing to have players helping bolster their rosters, but also I think those players need to go back into those countries and have some camps and stuff and really continue to help build the interest for the game. It's one thing to go and play every, couple of years in the worlds and stuff, but like we got to really start to help the development in those countries catch up to the rest of the world.
Now, I'm not saying he's going number 1 overall in the draft because we kind of already know who will be, but it is pretty cool to see like back-to-back like big level event type things with Team USA where, Brennan O'Neill was on Team USA for the World Lacrosse Championship, and then now you have Jake Taylor as the only college player. I think that's pretty cool that, we've seen that happen a couple times now in recent memory where you have one guy who's still playing in college, but he's getting the nod from Team USA to be like, "Yo, you're a player. Come out for the roster and play with us."
Yeah, I think it's awesome for more college guys to be making it because I think that is where the biggest eyes are at the moment. I think a lot more people know about college lacrosse than other levels of lacrosse. So being able to take the people that they're seeing on a regular basis and slot them into these other tournaments, like even this goes back to CJ Kurse and Joey Spallina playing in the World Box Games. Like those are more familiar names with some people in the lacrosse realm because of college being kind of the main focal point for some people to view, then that's a familiar name for them. Boom, it leads them down this rabbit hole. The same thing with more college guys making it onto these rosters. As they're getting younger, there's going to be more influx of fans coming in because they're going to remember that guy who just played 4 years at Syracuse, now playing a year or two into his time as a pro.
Yeah.
Versus Rob Pennell, who's been playing pro for 15 years. Like some guys may not even know who Rob Pennell is for that stature.
This team's loaded though, man. I like the makeup of this roster across the board. This is gonna be a fun team to watch.
Yeah, they're going to be very fun when sixes come around, whether that be Olympics or if there's another tournament before then. But I believe the next time we'll see them will be Olympics, which will be an extremely fun team to take a look at. And I mean, it may not even be this exact team come that time either. There may be a few other names that make their way onto this list instead because it's the Olympics. And like Pat Cav said on
McAfee.
on the McAfee show, wow, man, on the McAfee show, it's going to be one of the hardest lacrosse rosters to make in the history of the sport because it's the Olympics and pretty much everybody's going to want to be on that team.
100%. And I mean, we'll see a lot of these guys playing in the championship series in February too. From Grant to all the Cannons guys to Xander Dixon, Liam Entenman. It's a loaded roster, and I mean TJ Malone and Ryan Conrad as well for the Whips, which I can't wait to see Stags all perked up and cheery for another championship series.
Yeah, right.
DJ, I figured we'd end on something pretty fun because the PLL trading card set did drop this week, and don't worry if you missed out on a hobby box. The PLL put on the website page They apologize for the inconvenience. Supply chain issues due to Hurricane Milton have delayed deliveries temporarily, but don't worry, more cards are coming next week. So if you missed out on the hobby boxes, don't worry, don't fret. They will be available potentially next week at the earliest. But I want to talk about the set a little bit, and then I thought we'd have a fun little exercise to end. But this set is pretty sick, and I don't know if you saw our guy Michael Harrison and his pull. He got Michael Sauer's jersey patch card.
Yeah, I saw that too. I can't wait till I can get my hands on a box of these cards and see what I pull, because last year in the first year
We was pulling.
I was pulling. I literally pulled something nice in 100% of card packs that I touched. So I would love to get my hands on a box of these and see if my magic will continue, especially with some of the cards we've already seen some guys pull.
That
I would
Brennan
feel
O'Neill card was
that's nice.
something nice.
That's something nice, and I know I got something nice in my future. So once I can get my hands on a box of them cards, y'all know what it is. We're gonna open them things up for y'all, and I'm definitely gonna be having one of the faces going on, because I'm gonna drop some heat.
So the PLL 2024 trading card set features 156 base cards, autograph cards, jersey cards, low-numbered parallel cards, and special insert cards. Highlights include the first cards for the 2024 rookie class, MVP, and top draft pick insert cards, updated designs, rookie card logos, and player stat grids. Notably, the PLL has also introduced a unique number of 2 player edition parallel, with each player included in the set receiving one of the 2 player edition parallels, which means this is really cool. And I saw our guy Mike Rabel talking about it. So if you pull a card that says 1 of 2 or 2 of 2 in your PLL trading cards, that means you have one and the player that you pulled has the other one, which I think is the coolest new introduction to the trading card hobby we've seen in a long time. To have each player have their own card, and then a fan is going to have that particular card, is one of the coolest things I've seen from a collectible standpoint in a very long time.
Yeah, I think that makes the card more special than almost any other card we've ever seen. I think the only thing that can take that up a notch is if they added an auto to that.
Mm.
So you do the 2 of 2, but then they each have an auto on them. So then you still get that auto from the player. But yeah, that it's still extremely cool that somebody out there, or a handful of people, are going to have a card that them and that player have, and those are the only 2 in the world. I think that's insane.
And I mean, just seeing the cards that have been pulled already, which, hey, can we get some sent to the boys? I love the PLL rookie stamp on that. I think that's something that a lot of people were asking for from the snapshot series, to signify, hey, this is a rookie card. Like, this elevates the value of this player's card that much more. And the stamp looks great. I love that. Just the design of the card looks so good. This is also the first set that the home cities are featured on, which is pretty cool, because in Snapshot it was still just the traditional team names, because that's when they were released. But this time it has the home cities on them. I'm excited to see what the autographs look like. I haven't seen any autographs pulled yet that have stumbled across my timeline. But I also love that the jersey patch cards on the back tell you if they're game worn and what game they were worn in. Like, that Brennan O'Neill card that's floating around is from the Brennan O'Neill game in Carolina, which I think is such a cool thing to, like, know, like, hey, I'm holding a piece of history right here.
Yeah, I think that's cool, knowing exactly when the game that you got the patch from, because like, I think that's one thing that I would have liked from, what was it, 2 years ago now, yeah, maybe 3, where they had the relics and I got the Lau relic. Like, I would have liked to known what game it was that he wore that jersey in. Not that it like matters, but like it is just a cool addition to know exactly what game the relic comes from, because then when it is a historical performance like that one, it then increases the value of that card just a little bit more than
Right.
a regular relic, a jersey relic card.
100%. And now I am pulling this up here because I want to do something fun for us, because while the hobby boxes are no longer available for the time being on the website, the individual packs are still available, Deej, and I wanted to do something that would be pretty hilarious for us, and that is to spin a wheel, and whatever the wheel lands on, we buy that number of packs. And everyone gets to see, because we'll pull the wheel up here on the screen, and we'll buy those packs, and then we'll open them on a future episode whenever they come in. Now, I have it set up to be a pretty hilarious fraction for each name and everything. So each one has like I'm going to bump it to, each one has like a 20-ish% chance to hit outside of one, which I'll show you once I pull it up on the screen here. So yeah, if you're listening on podcasts, I apologize, it's not great audio podcasting, but watch on YouTube. So here's the wheel, Deej. Here is the wheel. It has the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then on a small sliver is 10. This is just a test spin here for everybody watching. So it'll spin, blah, 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 and whatever it lands on, Deej and I will order that number. And we'll open them on a future episode. So 10's real small sliver, but everything else has even odds of like 19%. So you give me the clearance of when to spin the wheel. And how many times are we spinning it?
How many times do you want to spin it? Is it one and done?
I'm down for whatever.
So we have two options here. It can be one and done, or it can be last thing standing.
So we can do an elimination wheel? To which then I would have to bump the 10 to even odds.
No.
Then it's gonna land.
I think you put it maybe a little bit higher, but not even odds.
So that would be, so it has half the amount of everything else. 1 through 5 is at 18%, and then 10 is on 9%.
Okay.
So we doing an elimination wheel here?
Yeah.
All right. First spin. Oh, wait. I hit the wrong button.
You got to just press the X right there.
Yep. All right. First spin. So it will not be 2 packs. Now everything else has a 22% chance, and 10 has an 11% chance. It will not be 4. Our wallets are yelling at us.
This feels like Deal or No Deal.
No whammies. Oh my. So 3 is eliminated. We're down to the final 3 numbers: 1, 5, and 10. 1 and 5 have a 40% chance of hitting. 10 has a 20% chance of hitting. And I'm just letting everyone know Deej is the one that said eliminator wheel. Oh, God damn it. Now do we make it here's now that we're down to 5 and 10, do we make it even odds and a best of 7? So we spin it, whatever gets to 4 first.
Okay.
This is an homage to the Yak. Shout out to the Yak on Barstool. All right, here we go. 50% odds for both. It's a best of 7 series. Whatever hits 4 times first is what we're investing in. You son of a bitch. That's 1 for 10. Oh, you got to be kidding me. 2-0 in favor of 10. Ladies and gentlemen, we will have a game 5.
Here we go. Here we go.
It's 2-1 in favor of 10. Oh, God damn it. We have a 3-1 lead, the most dangerous lead in sports. We will have a game 6. It's 3-2. Here we go, game 6. Oh. We will, everybody listening at home, we will consult our financial consultants and we will let you know if 10 is in the cards for us.
Hey, that was such a fun game. Next time we just go pick the first number because 2 would have been great.
2 would have been great. What if we just say that was the rule all along? Whatever it landed on first, we just did that for theatrics.
Oh, I mean, the people got it on tape.
I know. That's the worst part. So that's what? $4.99 per pack.
Oh, that's just over $40.
But then we have our monthly merch discount, which is about $10 off.
Then I might just buy a hat just so I can still get over that free shipping.
Yeah. But send us your pulls. We want to see if you got cards. Let us know what you pulled. Because we'd love to see them. And we will be opening packs at some point. Might have to hit up our boy Off Ball Lax and Michael Harrison, do a big old opening live stream at some point. Or, you know, with us both buying 10 packs via the wheel, might just wait for the boxes to come back in stock and we both buy a box.
I mean, I'm definitely down to buy a box. That is seemingly more affordable.
Yeah. And
I
more.
can still put that discount thing on it.
Yeah, exactly. So we might just hold off since it did land on 10. That may just mean, hey, we're buying a box. All right.
This may work out.
That's all we got for you guys this week. Next week, more than likely, our guy Phil Shore coming on to do Fictional Lacrosse Rosters Volume 3 with Disney. Deej will have more Survivor updates. We'll talk some more lacrosse. We'll get a recap on the USA Lacrosse Experience. Hopefully have a guest on. We're working on some scheduling things with a bunch of people that have agreed to come on the show. So stay tuned for those. And anybody in Florida, hopefully you're safe and we're able to evacuate if need be. but sending our best to everybody in Tampa. That shit's crazy. Did you see the Tampa Bay Rays roof on their stadium?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
insane. Insane. Hopefully everybody is safe though. And make sure you guys are following us at OTB LaxPod across the board on social media. Follow Deej on Twitter at SCS_NextGreat. Which, hey, shout out to the Water Dogs, featuring both the boys this week in a post about our guy Marcus Hudgens.
Yes, sir. Very
Let's
much
go.
appreciated. Thank you.
It was all the boys. It was me, you, Jordan, Brian.
Yeah, we were in there.
It was
like
was
swimwear.
a list of ball knowers.
Yep. We are fit.
We
We
know
are
ball.
officially ball knowers.
So yeah, shout out to the dogs. The dog social media team is always elite at showing us love.
Yeah, they are. Well, yeah,
they show us love.
they do.
They retweet
do.
us a bunch, unlike some other accounts. But hey, what can I say? Follow us on the socials. Subscribe to the pod, Apple, Spotify. Leave a 5-star review. Leave a voicemail. The voicemail line will be open as you guys are listening to this. So drop your lacrosse takes and everything. Deej, pick up for me. I'm about to cough. Keep talking about the voicemail.
Oh yeah, drop your takes. Drop your thoughts on anything we've said. What you're hoping to happen in the NLL. Who's your favorite NLL team? Whatever it is that you want to talk about, we will respond to it because voicemails are going to be so much fun to have.
We'll play them on the show. Like that is a guarantee. The voicemails will get played on the show. They have to be 90 seconds or less for the time being, but hey, that's easy. That's a minute and a half to get your point across. Subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. Leave a like on the video, drop a comment in the comment section, and of course, click the bell icon so you know whenever new videos go live. And be sure to sign up for Shootout for Soldiers Vail, Colorado event happening by the time you guys are listening to this time next week, October 19th. It's going down in Vail, Colorado. Click the link in the description or visit Shootout for Soldiers website to get more information to register. It's happening October 19th in Vail, Colorado. So time is running out to register for the event. Be sure to register. shootoutforsoldiers.com/events. And big thank you to Shootout for Soldiers for being the presenting partner of the Outside the Box podcast. And this has been episode number 344 of the award-nominated, honorably mentioned, number 9 NCAA ranked, and of course, viewable on YouTube, Outside the Box podcast, the official lacrosse pod on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. For Deej, I'm KB. We'll catch you guys next week. But until then, drop a voicemail. We're getting the heck up out of here. Peace.